Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Frank coming back at you guys with another video, and today we're going to be talking about The Bear on Hulu. Have you guys seen The Bear? I've seen The Bear. I like The Bear. When I first started watching The Bear, it was one of those shows where it didn't really grab me at first, mostly because in the first episode things just sort of happen and you're kind of just meant to roll with it, so I dropped the show for just a little bit, and then after a while I decided to come back. And I'm really glad I did. Hulu is doing some really great stuff with their original content, and The Bear is another great example of pretty good television that you can watch on Hulu, of course. Doing some further investigation, you can see that The Bear was filmed at Mr. Beef, located in Chicago, Illinois, and as a native and a part-time Italian myself, I thought, hey, I like the show just enough. Why not make the trip down there and try one of these famous beef sandwiches? But before I did that, I needed to do some background research. So I fired up the good old Google machine. I typed in Mr. Beef and I looked at their pictures. And, starting off, some pretty harmless stuff here. We have an Italian beef. Doesn't look like anything too special. Then you keep looking and things just kind of get very interesting a little bit too quickly. The cheese dog is definitely one of my personal favorites on the menu. From this picture, I really like the fact that you can pretty much count how many poppy seeds are on the bun on one hand. In addition to that, the cheese is really, really weird because it looks like it's melted, but it's still a solid piece of American cheese, which is very interesting. And if you check the menu online, this baby goes for $5.50, and I can spend $5.50 on literally anything else that I really don't think I could clog my arteries with as much cheese that this dog has on it. On the next picture that I found interesting, it's a picture of two Santa Clauses, one being white, one being black. Oh, what is that? Is that a Mortal Kombat machine? Sorry, my apologies, but big props to you, Mr. Beef, for having that, man. It's pretty alright. Bastards. Coming up next, we also have a picture of a hamburger, and I mean, at first the hamburger looks kind of harmless, but I do appreciate the fact that this tomato is a solid 7 inches long, and it's bigger than the actual patty itself. It literally looks like they took Tomato Head from Fortnite, cut that boy up, and said, hey, you're going on this sandwich, and then that's exactly what they just decided to do. This next picture, I don't even know how to describe it, but I think I'd be pretty pissed off if I found a nut of any kind in my sandwich. And this one looks particularly rusty, and I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, after that, we do have this picture of an Italian beef with 3 slices of cheese on it, which is pretty generous. Except the cheese doesn't appear to be melted, and I can just tell that whoever made this sandwich appeared to be very angry while doing it. I really do enjoy how thrown on this sandwich kind of looks. It just, it looks like a typical Chicago guy who was probably pissed off about something, and someone was like, hey, can I get a beef? And then, hey, that's the beef that you get, because that's what you get for ordering a beef sandwich with American cheese on it, you absolute weirdo. So logically, after looking at all of this appetizing looking food, I'm using quotation marks there, you're probably wondering who in their right mind would make the trip all the way down to Mr. Beef to try the food. And well, look guys, watching the show, it got me hungry. Real hungry. So hungry, in fact, that the drive was made to River North and we came to visit Mr. Beef. Would the picture spoil our meal? Would we find a rusty bolt inside of our beef sandwich? The time for talk was over. We were about to find out, and we were about to meet Mr. Beef. So upon entering Mr. Beef, you'll notice that the store is pretty tiny. If you've watched The Bear, you pretty much know what to expect with that place. They accepted cash only, so after a quick deposit to the ATM machine, I was ready to go. I placed the order and we were off. The servers there were extremely nice about everything. The food came out really quickly, and before we knew it, we had 2 Italian beef sandwiches with giardiniera in our midst. And oh boy, was I hungry and was I ready to eat. We walk up to the dining room, and oh yeah, it's cafeteria style, baby, so you better sit at the right table. Of course, only the cool kids were allowed at mine, but again, that's besides the point. So we put the beef sandwich down on the table, and as you can tell, them boys were wet. They were leaving puddles on that table bigger than the stuff that you would see from Shamu at SeaWorld, and man was I ready to dig in and try this behemoth of a beef. So after unwrapping it and everything, you'll notice that there's a lot of green on this beef sandwich, which is a little different because I'm accustomed to the giardiniera with carrots on. I like a little bit of orange with my food, but that wasn't the case here. Instead, it was substituted for celery. An odd choice, but hey, I've done some weird stuff before. I think I can get behind that. And after biting into the beef sandwich, well, it was fine. It was a beef sandwich. The bread was pretty soft, the beef was really juicy, almost a little bit too juicy for my liking, but hey, that's personal preference, and the celery added a nice necessary crunch to it. Of course, after eating it for a while, you'll realize no heat comes with the giardiniera, and I mean, that's something that I do look for in my Italian beef sandwiches, so a little bit more of that please next time. Thank you, Mr. Beef. I know I put a thumbs up in the clip of me actually eating the beef sandwich, but I think I sort of did that out of obligation because after eating it I realized that I got Stockholm Syndrome, and after paying $26 for 2 Italian beef sandwiches and an order of fries, you're kind of forced to enjoy the food that you're eating. After I was done with the beef, I realized it was fine, but it was nothing special. It was pretty much a beef sandwich I can literally get any other place. Them fries, on the other hand, oh, them boys were crispy, they were a little crunchy, just the way I like them. You know what? Thumbs up for the fries. The fries were good, no hesitation. They were so good, in fact, that when my girlfriend asked me if she could have some fries, the bag was empty, meaning no fries for her. So, at the end of our long journey, I had to make the decision, would I ever come back to Mr. Beef? And the answer to that is absolutely not. The food's fine. It's decent, but it's nothing too special. If you do enjoy the bear, I think it's definitely worth making the trip down there because it is cool to see everything from the show. The workers there are extremely nice. And after all, this is a classic Italian beef store, so you know you're going to see pictures of babies who you don't know, but I mean, it's the whole 9 yards. You really get the full experience here. Overall, the food was good but not great. I'm sure if I got the cheese dog, it would have been bad but not horrible. But in the end, I didn't find a rusty nut in my food. The food was definitely edible, and like I said, being a big fan of the show, it was definitely a cool experience. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Be sure to check out episode 2 of Shitcoms where me and Alex talk about the King of Queens. As always, Shitcoms is always a fun time. And be sure to check back in the channel in the coming days for more pretty above average content. Have a good rest of your day, guys.